Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are going to be getting into our second game very, very quickly indeed. The first one, a little bit speedy towards the end. We are going to be on the same map if you guys have been paying attention on HLTV, but of course, two different teams. Tricked up against Movistar Riders. Now, Tricked, the team that have been making waves recently. Obviously, this Danish CS is always kind of the hype behind some of the younger members, but taking the victory at the V4 Festival, I believe Bubsky playing very, very well. Meanwhile, Movistar Riders kind of in a similar position, I think, where we left off with them last season. However, now they are Mixwell-less. And as I was kind of saying in the pregame, eStore has looked good in places when I've seen him, but definitely not as consistent as Mixwell. So we'll see whether they can compete against Tricked.
It was interesting. I caught a little bit of Movistar in the playoffs last season, and a lot of their setup seemed to be about getting Mixwell going as the hero player, and then if that wasn't working out, they were kind of left out of their depth. So I'm curious to see how they've adapted to a world without the star player. It is going to be Roge getting the first kill. It's aggressive play out, but they have completely overlooked eStore. He's just hanging out by the thimbles, and patience pays off here. A couple of big frags. If he secures this one to be ramped, that'll just about be the round, but still, Tricked is battling this back. They've adapted quickly to the circumstances, and they're trying to figure it out, and that's a nice play from Jush. Just goes on top to get the kill. He's got 3 to his name right now. Now Soker finds himself in an awkward spot. We'll take the first, but it's a 1v1 with bomb now planted, which is basically an ally for Bubsky. That's going to come down to the wits. Spotted the player now. That's the indication. They're dancing around the train car. Bubsky wants to go on high. And that might pay off, to be fair. Soker just an inch away from spotting his head. There's the information. Wants to go and force the fight. They've fallen off. Time is not his ally. No kit available. Soker has to find his kill immediately and will do so just in time. Should be able to get the defuse out here. And Movistar will take the pistol round. That really comes down to Easter's play from Thimbles.
Yeah. Absolutely massive. And it's a good time to kind of mention him as well. So huge in that round. And the thing is, you talked about a lot of the plays, the setups and things Movistar Riders went with in the past being around the AWPer. Well, not much has changed in that sense, just who the AWPer actually is, right? eStore's still, when he can, they'll be getting that AWP into his hands as much as possible. So it will be interesting to see, whether he steps up or whether he kind of falls behind as he can do sometimes. And the thing is, the whole team is predicated, their success is predicated off the back of how well he does and how well he fits in. So yeah, it's a bit of a difficult play style. If it works, they can be extremely dominant. But if eStore has an off game, or the opponents are able to deal and shut down the AWP relatively easily, then their whole game plan just falls apart. Nice little touchdown nade though. I think that was a 100-0 on A-Core. He'll get taken out. And of course, we do have this hero Krieg on the side of Tricked Esports. Juice just going for it, I guess. See whether he can make it work. He'll find the first with the MP9 on the backside. Gonna spray down 2. And as soon as he spins around, Soker is there. Really nice 3-man hold towards Ivy from Movistar Riders.
So the hero Krieg not paying the dividends they were hoping for. It just gets 1, and that's just not the return on investments you needed out of the gun. So it's going to be limited to the next one. It'll be interesting to see whether they're going to buy and just keep him on the SMG, or whether they'll take the hit. It is going to be the rifle buy up in this round. They'll actually give him the rifle as well. Hunden taking the hit. Ever the sacrificial lamb here, is Hunden setting up his team for success at the expense of his own stats, but that's what you expect from the veteran leader. That's what you need. You need somebody to fall on that grenade, to lie on the wire, and that is Hunden to a capital T. It is going to be aggression towards the inner side, it seems, early on, and that means it's going to be Deaths who's got to be up to the task. He's going to drop utility, try and slow them a bit. That initial salvo doesn't really connect. He'll get support through here. That allows eStore to come back around, but they've just got 2 SMGs. There's no long-range capability on either of these Movistar players. The Spaniards are going to be up the creek if the hit comes through, and they get picked off from range. Still the reposition towards Spools. We saw the Spools position come into effect in the pistol round. We saw it be fairly effective as well in the last game we watched. And they've bottled up Trick, at least for the moment, dropping the utilities, which they still have available. That Molotov may be critical here. It's going to be dropped now. Delays the hit. Perfect. Off-tempo set that allows Soker to get back into position. Now they've got the AUG to deal with. Soker's going to find 1 and the second. So this has upset the apple cart entirely from Trick. They've got nothing to react on. A-Core's doing a little bit of damage, but he's now in a 1v3. The flank is coming on quickly. They won't even need it. Alex takes the frag instead. Creeks can be retrieved, and that is very nicely played from Movistar. Perfect timing on the Molotov from Eastdoor. Just bisects the approach, and then Movistar just picks them apart and makes it work. Clinical.
Yeah, absolutely perfect, honestly. And it's kind of, those players on the upper side of things can't really turn around. They've got to push forwards and press the attack, try and find something, and like you say, just completely split apart. And instead of it being like a 5-on-3, it's sort of a 3-on-2 and then a 3-on-3 directly. So it's a really difficult situation for Tricked, and Movistar Riders getting off to that good start that I mentioned they kind of need, and they would be looking towards more often than not. Deaths as well, talked about Esea a fair amount on that AWP as he's now pulled it out, wanting him to perform well. However, Deaths is such a strong individual and actually such a great B anchor as well for this side. Although, what has happened here? Rose just crept in and found 2 quick headshots, just like that. 2 bullets, 2 kills. They're trying to pick up the pieces here on the CT side of things and doing a good job of doing so. But my goodness, that got very, very scary very quickly indeed. 0 to 100 almost instantly. And I mean, you can't really be letting that happen again. Movistar Riders Rose just able to creep out quite far, to be honest, and almost ripping the round apart.
Now, that was really interesting as well, because Mopaz was holding the angle that he crept from for most of that round outer. I thought he had the read that there was a player pushed up there in Olaf, but he then slides off of it to take the position on top of the train car at just the wrong moment. It's a game of timing, right? And that's what allows Roche to get through, to get the damage, to get the deagles. Fortunately for Movistar and for Mopaz himself, his 3K is what allows him to bring it back through. So it winds up working out. There's a trade early on in towards Decon. Aggression gets checked. Some damage done. I would say that this favors the T's this early on, especially since they've still got a bunch of utility in the bank. But look at this change. Alex has pushed all the way out Ivy. That should be a ton of information. Nobody is anywhere near this side of the map. And if they do come this way, he is going to dunk them down. That was the elbow spot from A-Core. They should be hedging another player over towards B. I'm not sure why they're not reacting to this information just now. They'll move, and Deaths does get a kill, to be fair, but the Molotov down means that they're locked out. It's going to be a bomb plant for sure, and likely more. Bold play from Soaker. Takes the frag, but burns alive as a result. Still the numbers advantage here, and the bomb not going to be planted. They didn't go for the safe plant, and they suffer for it. A big misplay from Trick going to hurt them and make this so difficult going forward. It's all going to be left to Jush. Got to make something happen here. A 1v3. They admittedly don't know his exact position, but they've got a pretty good idea that he's hemmed up somewhere within this B bomb site. They're trying to circle the wagons. They've actually all fallen off of it. This is interesting for Movistar. They may be overthinking this, anticipating that he'd be coming from the flank, but he's still penned in here. That nade will secure it, though. They'll know exactly where he's playing from. He's got to get this bomb now and plant it if he's going to have any chance of doing so in the round. Death's coming down from the B ramp, and it's just a matter of time before he's claimed. Missed the opportunity for the bomb plant, and Trick to get picked apart. So nicely done by Movistar, and really, I'm not sure why Trick just didn't initially plant there on the bomb train when they had control of it, when they had control of the site. It's a bit of a questionable decision.
Definitely a difficult start here. I mean, this map is pretty damn good for Tricks, but in the same strain, it's also pretty good for Movistar Riders. So I think we're on fairly even ground, as you would expect, the way that the vetoes work and whatnot in MDL. So it should be a relatively interesting one. Nice pickup coming in early on from Roche. However, trade comes back in. There's a kill on the other side of things towards Ivy as Juice gets a little aggressive, ahead of the smoke, peeking out. Will result in a 4-on-3 briefly. They are still keeping things interesting here on the Tricked side. And the CTs, again, kind of left guessing. This bomb is pushed in so aggressively. 100 inside the smoke. Soka with that retrieve creed, though, deadly, as we mentioned on the previous game. However, London gonna get the drop. The trades keep coming back for the T side. The bomb will go down, and it's looking good for them. 2v2. However, the AWP on the retake, not really ideal. There's no utility for the T's, so there is that. If they play it nice and slow, Movistar Riders can probably clear out some good angles, and no real risk of the peaks coming in. Oh, but Alex, that's so unfortunate. He looks up instead of down to begin with, and Hunden will actually take the double kill all by himself. No assistance needed. The first round for Tricked on the board.
Can't stop God Hunden. Just got to go ham when you need to. I was going to say right before that, I actually do love the way that Movistar are playing this, even in that round, which they did wind up giving up. You see, they lose the initial pick, but then there's the perfect response from the CT side, right? They don't really get too antsy, they don't really flinch, manage to bring it back to close. Still, it's up to Hunden to make a big individual play. He chases down the first player, but then has the second as well in the clutch, to prevent the clutch, rather. So nicely done. And Movistar, despite winning 5 in a row, their bank has evaporated rather rapidly. 2 MP9s and a Deagle going to be paired with their AWP and AUG to try and get this through. Nice run boost to take some IV control, but Alex is not going to serve himself up on a silver platter here. Be interesting to see if Trick can run a couple on the back of this. The AWP is still here and is a threat. Eastor is playing that super close angle out towards upper B. He's going to peek into it. This could be perfect. It's all going to come down to timing. He'll hit the first shot. Needs to get away. A little bit of aim punch slowing him, but he will manage to escape. And Deaths is here to secure his retreat out towards the ramp. Dies, though. Had just pulled off the angle, and that little bit of distance might have been the game changer. Molly down to slow this take. And look at this play from Eastor. What is he doing? So aggressive through the smoke. There's no way they expect it, but that missed shot. Oh, that's ruination. Such a big chance. Went for the bold play. Nearly had it. But unable to corral his up bullet. And that's going to almost certainly be the round. I think there will be another kill here on the flank from Mopaz, but as soon as they know where he is, that should be all she wrote. Gonna run this down. He'll get a Krieg at least to play with in the post. But you can see Raj is already making his way around to bottle him in towards the upper B halls. And it's just gonna be left to Mopaz to try and keep this Krieg alive into the next.
Yeah, a bit of a difficult one. Ultimately, just weak weaponry, right? And I think they needed a bit more from Eastor. It was all around him. It was all based off of him with that orb, as it so often is. Unfortunately, he's just not quite able to find it. No saved Krieg either, so that's definitely going to make a difference. Sure, they're more likely than not going to eco this one out, but it would have been very nice to have that pressure across the board. Player like Mopaz definitely can be explosive. But as it happens, just going to be the hard eco from Movistar Riders, so not expecting a great deal. And Trick bouncing back, you know, this is kind of the issue with that CT side, as we saw, brittle economy, bringing some of the rounds close. Trick are able to very quickly get their foot back in the door and actually fighting back relatively well in the past couple of rounds, looking good. And as I've said, they do have a train. They have a very good train, in fact. So they can get the 5-6 rounds on the board. I think they'd be fairly confident, fairly happy with how this one is going. So yeah, I think we're maybe starting to look at the foundations of a good T side here. It's actually kind of even in terms of CT T side rounds, picked up 52% CT rounds for Trick. So, you know, not a massive discrepancy. But again, I think just because of the nature of it, if you can get your CT side rolling, as we saw in the previous game, you can be very, very dominant indeed. You know, if you've got those super strong crossfires and the individuals playing relatively well. These days, if you retrieve a Krieg, can really make a difference. So Absolutely. We'll see here.
Utility dump going to come in towards Outer. They're not taking this round lightly. Just trying to escape it with as much of the player base is intact as possible. A couple of frags coming back the other way. Maybe there's some low players. There's opportunity here. But Alex not able to corral the last shot. Could have got Hunden there and at least made it expensive, but 4 alive, the teaser's very pretty. Now, here's my question for you. We're going to see the glass cannon up on Eastor. They're going to be very limited to this one. I'm actually a little surprised that Movistar is investing. I almost expected a half buy to get the economy healthy, because Train is such a map where if you don't have the utility, if you continue to hamstring yourself through rounds, you can just wind up in a really tough spot. And again, I'm not as familiar with this Movistar side. Do they tend to go towards the double up when they actually have that economically available? Is that something in their playbook, or do they not have a second offer who's comfortable picking up a big green gun?
Yeah, I'd probably go with the latter. Not massively comfortable. I mean, they do from time to time, as a lot of teams do, but where, you know, we saw Havu like immediately jump towards it because it's something that they really like to go for. That's not the best way to start the round, but yeah, ultimately, not so much. Not so much. Maybe if they get a bit desperate, maybe if, you know, they need something different, and especially with the way that these rounds have been going. However, yeah, I don't know. Soka sometimes pulls it out. I think he's just quite an aggressive player in general, though, so it's a bit of a different style, where Eastor tends to play a little more the turret style of AWP. So it can be something a bit different, and there you go. It kind of pays off, right? He's very patient. He holds an angle. He waits. He believes that he will eventually get peaked, and works out for him, as it so often does. Bubsky on the other side of things, trying to be a bit of a nuisance, actually going to keep a lot of attention on this B-bomb site. So eStore is going to be the only man to hold things down here on the A-bomb site, doing a relatively good job of it though. Gets one, drops back, drops the bomb, importantly enough. Will eventually get taken down, but surely he's created enough room for his teammates. All going to be down to A-Core in the 1-on-3, and they know vaguely where he's at. Going to hear him quite prominently here. He will catch one with the Molotov in hand. However, Soka in with the trade. So there you are. Movistar Riders will get their 6th round, and it does look like, indeed, they are going to give the double up setup a bit of a try.
Now, that was a really interesting round. That was kind of a game of misinformation, bouncing back and forth, right? First, you have the rotation. They're starting to rotate in towards outer, right? They moved into T-Con, and just before that, Movistar had control of T-Con. They pull out of T-Con. They rotate towards B. They know that there's some presence up in B halls. They misread it, that the aggression towards Ivy was isolated. They thought that was the lurker, and so then they start to rapidly move towards the inner site. Right as they do that, the kill comes through with the op. So then Tricked is like, all right, there's an op on A. Let's hit B instead. That's probably their best gun. Like, let's just move through. They bounce out, going towards B, but then their single player pushes out and finds the stack, so they rotate back towards T-Con, and they just keep bouncing back and forth and not making a decisive move. It comes back to bite them. This round, they will go decisive indeed. It's a fast hit towards inner, and they just absolutely erased the defense from Movistar so quickly into the round without a bullet fired back in exchange. Tricked is going to secure this one. It's just going to be a save right from the get-go for Movistar. And after that round win, that is such a bitter pill to swallow. Mopaz will try and get a little bit of aggression on here and might just catch out Roche. Will indeed. That's in second op retrieve, which is a big piece for them. So if they can keep both these ops and the rifle alive, that'd be fantastic. You can see there's already a couple hunters out. And from Trick's perspective, these two AKs are absolutely worth sacrificing if they can get a single one of these ops out of their opponent's hands. I don't think they're
not looking too likely, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clean on the exits, but ultimately Tricked getting that 4th round, right? Keeping it close. The initial kind of string of rounds from Movistar Riders looked like they were going to bounce back and, you know, begin to pick them up again, but not going to be the case. Tricked are definitely more competitive in recent memory. Takes them a while, maybe a little bit too long to get the ball rolling, but all the same, I'll be happy that they've closed that gap. And as we mentioned earlier on, 5-6 rounds, you can be happy with that. But I think at this point they feel like with their success rate, with their kind of expectations coming into a matchup like this, I think they'll want a few more than just the 5 or 6. Really key round here in the first half. Probably one of the most important rounds we've had so far. And Trick going to get very aggressive on towards B. The UMP of Deaths is not quite enough to hold things down. eStore gets one. Through the smoke, though, he will be traded back and into a 4-on-3 very quickly indeed. I'm not sure, honestly. It doesn't look like it, although apparently Mopaz didn't quite get the memo. I was going to say they're on their way to save, but then he's flying up the ladder and getting taken out quite easily. But a 4 versus 2 overall could be even better than that for Tricked. They're able to drop a few rifles here. This could be massive as 5th round for them. Looking really, really good as they continue to kind of string them together and they've really taken control of this first half away from Movistar Riders, and it's making all the difference.
Absolutely. It feels like they've found the cracks to exploit, and they're very much playing the information game. It's working out for them. In that round, they're changing the tempo. They find the kills. They go out fast on towards B. They catch the Opera completely with his pants down, take it first, and then it's just he's pushed up B halls. It's kind of a hopeless situation. One way or another, he's going down. At least the 2 rifles will be able to survive here for Movistar, the AWP being one of them. Give them something to play around in this. And Soka and eStore should be able to buy up guns. Soka to drop. I think we should see a buyout here. But here's the pause. Because Movistar knows they're not going to get that many more opportunities in towards the half. So the question is, do they want to blow their load here? Do they want to spend it all? Do they want to make sure that they'll have something to go with into this one? Or are they going to take the bitter pill, take their medicine, say, all right, we're not going to have this one. Better luck next time. No, it is going to be the investment. Mopaz has picked up the MP9. That should be the indicator here. eStore has been dropped the AWP. They'll actually get the second AWP up. No, just the one. The rifle's there. I didn't think anyone had the cash for it, but they're tossing it around, playing the shell game. And it will be 4 rifles at the least. Just Mopaz really limited in eStore on toward the glass cannon. He goes for a ton of utility as opposed to getting any sort of armor here. So going bold with the big green gun. We'll see if it pays off for them. And once again, we're seeing presence early on towards the B halls. Death's the only player to slow them down, really, and eStore now coming back in support. It's no show yet. Trick living up to their name. They are being very tricky so far this T half. And if they can win this round, they're really going to break the back of Movistar and actually allow them to likely take the lead and possibly even the advantage throughout the half. This is a swing round. This is pivotal for Movistar. This could decide the rest of the game.
Yeah, that momentum makes all the difference, and as the smoke dissipates, he's still going to get caught completely off guard. They know that Deaths is around. That's the one kind of guarantee that they have, is the fact that that anchor will always be there. Sure, one gets taken down, but they're very unsure, unless they're backing off to save.
They are. It's a save.
I think, yeah, yeah, okay. So they are going to fully just go for that save. I was going to say, to be fair, was only, you know, Jushu like made his way out, the only one that had really done a great deal of damage, but another save scenario. Another round goes the way of Tricked. It's really a game of inches, right? Movistar Riders are not giving them too much, but ultimately Tricked are just kind of thinking, right, we've got a bit more firepower available at the moment. We're hot off a real good LAN. Let's just try and work that instead of, you know, maybe some spooky executes or whatever. Just kind of go rushing in, use the Krieg, the power of the Krieg, and also Movistar Riders being on the CT side, just pummeling them right now with the fact that they have weaker weapons dotted about. They have a lack of utility in places, so you can kind of just flash over the top, rush straight in. There's not much counter utility available for Movistar Riders. They're holding on to it because they have such little util available. So yeah, ultimately, I think Tricked's just getting a really good read on their opponents at the moment.
Use big decision time. Okay, and the right decision's being made. Movistar had a decision to make here, which is, are you going to invest around these 3 safe weapons, one of which is an MP9, or are you going to go ahead and eco here? And they are going to eco a couple upgraded pistols for Eastor and Deaths, but not any sort of major investment. This will allow them to actually mount the fight and try and get to the 8 rounds. So they're almost certainly going to give up the 7th here, unless the 2 rifles go ham and find something magnificent. Without one of those being the ops, I don't fancy their chances. Alex gets a little bit of a chip damage bullet onto him to make this interesting. Deaths, though, the aggressive push will catch one as they come back up the ladder. That's a rifle found. There's other players on the scene, but Deaths just has to be here as the nuisance. That's exactly what he's trying to do. Catching out Hunden. Ooh. That's the bomb as well. This round is winnable. His teammates are dropping, and it's really going to be left to Deaths to make the hero play, and he still doesn't have armor for it. Soaker, the only one who can do any other damage, and they know exactly where he is, so it's just a matter of time here. So it is just going to be Deaths. He's made a magnificent play, but the problem is the rest of his team just couldn't hang on long enough to really allow it to have maximum impact. So there's still a minute here. And this is basically Home Alone train version. Deaths right now is Macaulay Culkin, just trying to trap them as they come through, trying to do whatever damage he can. And that's a brilliant idea. Burns 2 alive. Just doesn't quite have the 3rd, and the round will be won before he can immolate them. So that was a great idea. I love the attempt from Deaths. It very nearly worked out. Unfortunately for him, the money damage doesn't really matter at this point. Tricked are perfectly happy to just play out with the cash that they've got in the bank right now. If they get one more round, this is already a catastrophic half for Movistar. If they get one more round, it's an absolute disaster.
Just imagine if that AWP shot misses, though. Either way, no craziness. Tricked will be counting their lucky stars after that one. And I feel like that's the kind of round, it's like, right, it happens once. We ain't letting that happen again. Not a chance. A lot of early damage done here, though, into this round. And you've talked about the importance of this round and the next, you know, for Movistar Riders, particularly to just kind of soften the blow, to pick up the pieces as best they can. However, Rouge has crept in once again. This is kind of the 2nd or 3rd time I think this has happened, where he's just able to walk out. Sure, there's a lot of utility around, but all the same, should not be allowed to happen. It's back into the 3-on-3. Maybe spoke a bit too soon, though, as there's a flurry of frags coming in. The bomb's being planted, being held, in fact. Ahsoka goes on to the bomb train to find that, but quick headshots coming in from Bubsky to pick up the 8th round. As a very fast, aggressive round once again. Tricked are doing kind of what Prosto were doing in the previous game. However, they've got the individuals, they've got the firepower to make it work a little more consistently. And they are obviously spotting these massive holes in the Movistar Riders' defense where it's kind of, you know, sure, there's all the frags going either way, but again, it's kind of Tricked being in control the whole round through. Movistar Riders are constantly panicking, trying to pick up the pieces, figure out where the T's are coming from. There's so much information going on, and again, it's going to happen here. Acor and Rouge, off the back of the flash from Hunden, able to pick up 2 very quick frags, and it looks like Tricked might just get a 9-6 half.
Numbers equalizing, so there's a chance to make a hero play. That's the bomb dropped. This is an opportunity now for East, where they're going to have to battle back in to recover it. And though they've already got control towards the outer yard, Roach might get this kill for free. Indeed, he's going to equalize numbers. That's still so much information to play off of. If Dets can get into that ladder room, secure it, this would be so dangerous. Acor, though, beats him to it. Beats him to the situation. Alex. Oh, press forward. Alex, this is such a timing. He spots him. It's too late. A second earlier, and he might have been able to take that Opera down, might have been able to find the pick. But this is a game of inches and seconds, and they are not on his side for the moment. So low for Deaths to try and battle this back. And there's the spot. There's the information. They're going to burn alive. That's the bomb drop, but it's come down to the 1v1 again. It's the clutch. And Roach can just get out of there, take the inner bomb site, and make sure the bomb plant's going to come through. So Alex has an opportunity to upgrade his arsenal at the very least, get a better gun for this fight. But it is going to come down to the wire. Alex now repositioning. Doesn't go to the AWP, sticks to the UMP instead. So going to battle this out with the SMG, and now he's given away his position. He's come through the Z connector. He's making a lot of noise. Roach already has 3 kills to his name. This is a chance to stack on a 4th and win the clutch. And Alex is creeping around the corner. It works! The UMP falling. One more bullet would have done him in, but they can't quite line up the Krieg spray, so Alex has it. That's going to be the defuse. Has time as well, even without the kit. And Movistar, that was a round they desperately needed. It's one they got. This is all still a terrible half for them. It's still a catastrophe. At the very least, they can take heart knowing that they can get that one last round, give themselves a better chance at the half switch.
6 bullets in that Krieg. That's very unfortunate, yeah. Like you said, one more would have done it. Was there time to get a reload off? Difficult to tell, but ultimately, it's still a good half from Tricked, right? It's a bit of a shame they don't win out that situation towards the end, but looking really, really good. And I think they have a bit more prominence on their CT side on this map as well, as I kind of mentioned, the raw HLTV statistics. Never really want to rely on them, lean on them too much, because it all comes down to the matchup on the day, for sure. But all the same, I think they kind of have that confidence in their CT side, and it could really make a difference. Map like Train, we've just seen how effective Acor was, and how effective he can be coming into this CT side, therefore, and you know, maybe a bit of a double up. I have to be honest, I think I mentioned a little bit previously, I'm not so sure about the double up for Tricked, whether they like to go for it or not, but I guess we'll see as the second half unfolds. Meanwhile, the T side, they've got a nice bit of utility, which to me kind of smacks of a B execute, you know, to cleanly get that bomb down, make sure that you can find the early advantage. 2 P250s as well is classic sauce. Maybe we'll see them stand on ramp and fight the USPs at range. I do love to see that execute. A lot of UK teams like to go for it in the Premiership and whatnot. But we're not in the Premiership. We're in MDL, and the boys are charging forwards. They've got something a bit different. It's not quite the classic sauce strategy, and it's not really working out. Tricks are going to clean things up relatively easily. Soka the only one left with a limp smoke, to say the least, going down the ramp. And yeah, the bomb out in no man's land. He's got a tiny bit of information to work off of, but as soon as he shows himself, he gets cleanly taken down. So Tricked in with a very dominant start into the second half.
That's just a gut punch as well from Movistar, right? They come out, they won that last round. So they're trying to take heart. They're trying to talk at the half. It's like, all right, boys, we can recover this. We can make this happen. They just come out. Let's get started. And Trick just puts the knee into the stomach and leaves them gasping for air. Says, we're going to take this pistol early on, get started right on our CT side, and make it so very difficult. You're seeing the force buy come out of here because I think Movistar is fully aware that this is desperation hours. Missed flashes. The cracks are showing. They're getting annihilated on the take. All of the CT presence is here early. We saw it in the pistol round even. They had aggressive IV control early on, and this time they just melt that attack. There's one player who drops its Bubski, but he already gets 3 kills before he falls, so he's got tons of cash with the SMG as well. 5,100 in the bank for him. They're going to be sitting just fine. This time they'll take against the Eco. There'll be a 4-round lead on the CT side with your economy healthy before Movistar really gets a chance to get guns in their hands and do much of anything at all. And this is just a disastrous situation. It's a catastrophe. I just really don't know what you say at this point for Movistar. It's going to be so tough. It's going to be so gritty for them to get back into this game, and they need to give themselves the best chance as soon as they can. So this round, not going to be it. They are almost certainly going to lose it, barring a serious misplay from Tricked. But, as I say that really puts the pressure on Trick not to make any mistakes here.
Yeah, I think they should be okay in this one, but very quickly the pressure is going to be on. So I feel like even, you know, losing 2 players in this situation, especially because they've actually got 3 players on the rifles, if they lose even just 2 players at this point, I think it's going to be a bit too costly for them. We'll see. We'll see. Don't have high hopes from Movistar Riders, if I am honest. However, Alex is going to catch Bubsky completely off guard. That's a bit of a mistake in terms of the setup, and a lot of damage done onto Rose. She's back down to the CZ, not really ideal. Acor steps up massively, though, to pick up a clean triple, but there you go. That's the damage. One of those rifles dropped as well. One of those M4s taken down, not retrieved. That's a lot of money that has actually fallen onto the floor. So Movistar Riders coming into this round have a relatively good chance to maybe shut some of these players down. The FAMAS still in play, but I mean, to be fair, looking at the money that Tricked have got, they could quite easily have traded those weapons up. Not going to be the case. So the cheeky bonus that definitely could pay dividends going into, you know, the short term of these next couple rounds if they're able to win this cleanly, and the opening pick going to go their way.
That's massive from Bobsky. He gets so aggressive, goes straight into it, knows that when you're at that little bit of a disadvantage playing with the SMG on Shush, you need to get a little bit crazy here. Eastor does bring it back, though. This could get awkward. Ivy, it was the double push, and the op opens things up. We were talking about how Eastor can be a dynamic player for the squad with the AWP. They need him to be, certainly now. Roach has to be careful not to overplay his hand in towards T-Con because that same op is lurking. And here's the push from the MP5, nearly catches it. Soaker responds well, though, and that's going to be the inner sight wide open. At this point, honestly, this may be a save. Bubsky's going to try and get in position to say something about this. They're going to have this rather rapidly, and Hunden's trying to get on the scene. I'm honestly surprised they're not saving at this, but Bubsky wants it. He's going to burn. He can't get away. He gets caught on the geometry. That's such a massive loss to take. Now, a 3v2, make that just the 1, and Roge knows what he's got to do. He's got to keep that op alive. Provided he saves this, they should be just fine to buy into the next. But he's got to keep the big green gun to make it a little bit easier for them. So Movistar, they needed an answer here. They needed to get something done on their first gun run, and they are up to the task. They make it happen. A few things break poorly for Tricked early on, but it's a good recovery for Movistar. And a good way to take through a round. I don't think they really want to hunt either. At this point, it's more important for them to keep their economy healthy and keep what they need going into the rounds than to take this 1 AWP away. They're not even close enough to do it, so it doesn't matter. You see they're just moving as a unit, so that if he was trying to punish, they'd be able to trade. That's well done. So with the op retrieved, I think Shush and Hunden should be able to drop. Maybe one player winds up on an SMG, but for the most part, they should be okay here. I think Trick is probably going to be able to mount a decent defense into this round.
Yeah, and again, it just kind of begs the question of, okay, going to play it relatively safe, I suppose. But yeah, it just sort of begs the question of holding on to the MP5 particularly is perhaps a bit too cheeky. You can kind of see why they go for it. Speaking of going for it, Shu's just so fast. We've seen so many aggressive pushes. Classic online CS, really. Just, you know, no teammate to help out or anything. Shu's just going to go for it. And I mean, the 1-for-1 sort of going to benefit Movistar Riders. I think they take down, and it sounds strange saying this when he's only got a Mag 7, but they take down one of the stronger members of the Tricked side in terms of the buy. And also, you know, they're able to get a bit of control and force a few more CTs to move towards the B side of things and keep attention there. So yeah, I don't know. I guess in a round like this, just the sort of maybe 2K that he'd spent on that buy to drop a player who spent 5 or 6 is kind of worth.
Yeah, I think it's about playing the long game at this point for Tricked, right? They're not exactly expecting to win this particular battle. Obviously, they'd love to, but they're trying to win the war here. And so what it is by getting the kill with that mag, you first of all put 900 in your own pocket. You take the full buy out of their pocket. That's maybe a little bit of an overplay from Bobsky, but the mag 7 back on the dirt. Gained it. Was trying to make a bit of a sneaky play again. If Acor can get a couple of kills here and actually get away with the AWP, that would be massive. Here's a huge shot for He's gotten 3! How have they allowed this? They just keep sending players after another, one after another, down to the same angle. He just holds with a P250 and he makes it work. It's come down to a 1v1, but this is already a catastrophe. And now Roge, he's got armor, he's got a kit, he's got a Molotov to boot. The molly goes down. He's going to drop the bomb. It's just going to bleed money away from Death, who's chasing him. So aggressive. And 1 second, the time is coming against them. At least the op can be retrieved, but they've won it. Tricked have pulled off the biggest trick of a lifetime. They've won that round. They've drained the bank. There's no cash available for Death. He's got the op at the very least, but no round loss bonus. What a play from Roge. Just a hero play, and it works out. And that's a disaster. That should just about be the last breath that they've got in Movistar. That is just an absolute gut punch of a round to take.
Yeah, a real two-footed kick in the teeth, to be honest. Like, it's so tough to deal with in the sense that, you know, he's on the P250, he's landing all the shots, but it's kind of, okay, he's taken down the first man. Let's maybe send some utility down or go somewhere else, not really risk it, right? Give that weapon away, sure, bit of a shame. But I think the AWP dropped down first as well, which is just so weird. You know, and then the fact that, like you said, they kind of stagnate the push and one by one, maybe shouting at each other to, why are you not trading or whatever, and they didn't seem very committed. And it seemed like the logic was, oh God, and here we go again, Pop Dog is not going well for Movistar Riders. But it just seemed like the logic was like, he'll miss eventually, or he'll run out of ammo eventually. But no, you give him those opportunities. Bubsky, MVP of V4, is going to take those opportunities and run away with them and win the round off the back of them. So yeah, a massive mistake, miscalculation, and perhaps overconfident step from Movistar Riders. This one could be interesting. The smoke misses by inches. Whether Alex is going to have to wait even longer. We'll start to push out here and almost going down, but not quite. Back into a 3-on-3, looking a bit more doable for Movistar Riders. However, the rotations are here. Nice little one-tap from Death, though. That individual prowess coming into play as he sprays down another. And now all on Shushush. Let's see, what can he find? In and around the bomb train. We'll get one. The other two are so very low, going to drop the bomb. And has a vague idea, but that's it. That's time again. Down to time. Down to a bit of an individual stepping up. Tricked are getting a little lucky in these past couple of rounds, you have to admit. And after time, Shush finds the kill. Salt in the wound, 13-8. And Tricked, I think, you know, I feel just based off of the mental game, you know, Movistar Riders have got to have some of the strongest mental to be able to survive that round and the one before.
I don't think they have it. I don't think they can do it. It's their own errors. It's their own errors, just letting that clock run so far down. And in the last round, it was the sunk cost fallacy, as you said, just dumping money after to chase a P250 out. Oh, this is such a catastrophe. And I think they should just avoid ladder round room entirely at this point. Acor are going to take the first. This round should get them towards 14. And Alex isn't even going to be able to buy in the next because, again, he didn't get loss bonus and got clocked after time. Roge grabs this kill. It's massive. There shouldn't really be much more of an opportunity. Ladder room just has not been their friend. Eastor is going to try and run something down. Does do so. Gets an op to boot as well. Gets a second here. Could change the complexion of the round. They're going to be able to get through. Eastor not going to anticipate the player in towards CT. And at this point, Trick, they're just playing them like a fiddle. They hem them in. They corral them. They put them down. 14th on the board. Here's going to be the buy. Alex is going to presumably be on an SMG. He's not going to get much behind it. What does he wind up going through with? And so this is their best attempt. This is their one grand attempt to slow this down. If they lose this, game is over. Almost certainly. And Alex has a UMP. This is such a tough situation for the Movistar side. They need someone to go ham. They need a hero play.
Yeah, and I mean, look, say it with me, guys. If you're coming into train, you need to have a prepared T side. We've seen Prosto fall flat. We've now seen Movistar Riders fall flat. And, you know, if you're just playing with this super aggressive, it can work if you're relying on the individuals. Tricked kind of showed that a little bit, to be fair, with their T side. But it can be difficult if you can't get the ball rolling. If the CTs are stronger and, you know, their confidence at an all-time high. Acor goes contact on his own. Oh, it's difficult to watch in places, honestly. This is very messy from Movistar Riders. It's going to come down to a 4-on-3. Roche is a little trapped as well. They know exactly where he is. Molotov going to come in. He has to take the face, and Soka is ready for it. Picks him up. So back into a 3-on-3. A little more doable. Actually, one of the better chances Movistar Riders have had in recent memory. However, the boys are still here to play. The flank are going to get taken down. Flash is not really sound. Acor up high on the green train. Will flick down. And yeah, they find the kills, but ultimately they're not gaining control of the map.
Yeah.
They're just sort of regaining lost parts. And it's like Tricked is still in this position where we can go, okay, we know where 2 of the 3 are. Watch the flank, maybe. Really good timing on that one for Shush, but all the same, just not able to push things out, not able to be like, right, we've picked up 2 kills, we've traded it back, now we can get a bomb plan. But it's like, no, we're just even in the numbers and we've not really gone anywhere on the Movistar Riders side. So a bit unfortunate. That flank could have made all the difference, but it's shut down relatively quickly.
Now, this is interesting. Triple up from the CT side to try and just tap this one in. It's SMGs across the board. On the other side, they've got 2 Kriegs to play with, but otherwise it's MAC-10s and UMPs. Everyone knows that's the buy you want for your last possible round. They need 7 in a row to get through this, and that's going to be the first little kick in the pants. That's the op kill coming out. Here's going to be the second as well. Juice just sticking up close. Will eventually get run out, but the damage has been done. The bomb plant will come through, but a hail of utility should be the response, and it's just going to be left to deaths in a 1v4. He's got to do it all here. He's got to pull out a miracle, and admittedly has the first. And here's the second as well. They're giving him opportunities. They're giving him 1v1s. They can't do this. The 2 ops just going to hold at least for a moment. They've got to get forward. He's low, 22 health. The pistols honestly would be enough to do this, but they've got to try and challenge it, and they're so timid. They don't want to go for it yet. There's the kill. And kit's available. Certainly, they will go ahead and win this out. So the patience pays off. They let the smoke expire. They don't give Deaths the opportunity. And that's going to be the round win. 16-8. A dominant second half. And really a dominant game all the way through for Tricks. Movistar, there's a lot of things they need to work on. Certainly, they need to completely redefine their entire philosophy around ladder room. Because Roge was just punishing them round after round after round. Even when it was a 1-for-1 trade from his perspective, he slowed them down so much, he delayed them so much, he made them devote so much utility to just getting him out of that position that they were hamstrung going through the round. So really nicely played from Tricked. Honestly, Roge's play in ladder room was the most impressive part for me, even if he wasn't statistically the most impressive. And Movistar, as you said, as we've seen today, if you do not have a plan for that T side, if you are not as prepared as your opponents, you're just going to get destroyed. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and kind of bad news for them coming up, honestly, because they are going to be our next game playing up against Havu on train once again. So if something doesn't change, we saw Havu make quick work of Prosto, who played a really similar play style. I feel like it could fall apart again for them on that T side. But of course, we are going to throw across to a quick little break while we get that game set up. So do be sure to stick around. Hopefully they can bounce back after that one, Movistar Riders. But we'll only find out after the break.